This is a little bit different. I'm starting today's video off on an iPhone because we're in like a high pressure situation here. So this morning I woke up and came across a really good deal, or what looked like to be a really good deal. I called the guy. He told me there's multiple people interested in that. The first one to get there was the one who got the boat if they wanted to buy it. So I got my butt up as fast as I could, told the guy I'd be there. He just happened to live about 30 minutes away. So unfortunately I didn't have time to grab the camera and do all that nonsense. So I just got in the truck and started heading there. I figured I would just film the beginning part of the purchase thing right here on my phone. So potentially we're going to be getting a 14-foot John boat. The goal is to be able to get a boat in a trailer and the whole 9 yards for under $1,000. Now, this guy does have a trailer available. I don't know what he's willing to take for it. He doesn't quite know if he wants to sell it, but he's open to the thought of it. So there's a chance I'm buying a boat and a trailer today. There's a chance I'm buying just a boat and throwing it in the bed of my truck. We're gonna head there right now, guys, and try and bargain a deal on a 14-foot John boat so that we can turn it into a bass boat. Alrighty, folks, damage done. We bought it. So I'm driving it home right now. This is gonna be funny. I'm actually really excited for this because this is just a project to be something unique. It's not meant to be the world's coolest thing ever, but actually maybe by the end of it, it will be, who knows? So I'll see you guys when I get home. I gotta get this thing home. I'm on the highway right now, so. Oh. Well, folks, this is either the dumbest thing I've ever done or the coolest thing I've ever done. Not really sure what to think of it yet. Right here, I have a new boat in my garage, as you can see, along with a bunch of other junk. So just ignore that, I'm sorry. Just a bunch of, it's not the most organized garage. It is what it is. So right here, I have a 1955, yes, 1955 14-foot John boat on a dilly trailer. I bought this on a limb, completely random. I don't know, I'm honestly scratching my head over this decision. I'll be honest with you, this was probably not one of the best financial decisions I've made at this point in time in my life, considering I don't have a job right now. Not really, I just love my toys, I don't care, who needs a job, right? Let's pull this thing out of the garage. I'm gonna tell you guys exactly what I'm going to be doing with it and just show you a little bit more about the boat. And heck, we're gonna consider this part 1 to a new boat build series. All right, guys, so let's start off with the backstory on why I have this thing, why I bought it. I kind of was looking for a 14-foot boat because a lot of the lakes around me are limited horsepower or all electric, and my big boat that I have, I basically just can't go fish with it on these other lakes. So I felt like I was a little bit held back when it came to muskie fishing and bass fishing because some of the most prime lakes in my area, I wasn't able to fish with my current boat. This is why it's funny. I recently lost my job. I don't want anybody taking sympathy for me here. The reason I'm telling you this is I wasn't looking for boats, but then I went to sell something on Facebook MarketPlace and this guy popped up. And I look at my girlfriend and I go, oh, son of a gun. I call the guy, you know, he was asking a certain price for it and it was a really good deal. And I called him and I asked him if it was still available. And he told me, yeah, but there was 2 people coming to look at it that day. And he essentially told me, hey, the first one to come here and give me money can take it home. Luckily, I'm not working. So I got right in my truck and I headed right there. It was only about 27 minutes from my house. We're gonna show you guys the boat today, and I think we're gonna do some other things as well, but I'm not gonna tell you how much I paid for it just yet. I'm gonna do a budget build just to kind of give you a spoil alert. I think what I'm going to do is I'm gonna turn this into a bass boat again. I wanna be able to deck this thing out. I want it to be a fishing machine. Along with it being a fishing machine, I do wanna kind of keep what it is. It is a 1955, so it is kind of like almost antique. Maybe it's not. I don't know boats that well, but with that being said, right here we have a 14-foot 1955 Elgin Sears John boat. I've been doing a little bit of research trying to learn about these boats. Essentially what this boat here is it's a USA made, or at least at the time it was USA made, Sears boat. I'm talking Sears, like Sears hardware. I didn't even know they made boats, so that's crazy to me. Everything is legit. I got a title for it, which is super valuable to me. Check it out. 19 $14.55. Right there, 14-foot Elgin. So this is just like a John boat for what it is that Sears sold back in the day. The listing didn't say what year it was. And at first I was like, a 1955? Do I really want to buy a 1955 boat? Like, that's old as heck. But then I thought about it, and I thought about people and their grandparents always saying, well, they just don't make them like they used to. So everybody that I was going to for advice was basically like, dude, buy this. The aluminum and the steel and stuff that they made back in the day is 10 times better than what they have to offer on today's market. So with the shape that it was in, I was like, all right, whatever. So let's check it out. If you guys come over here, as you guys can tell, it is blue. It's pretty naked right now. It's just a boat. This actually isn't the original trailer. This is a Dilly trailer. I'm not sure of the year yet. I kind of got to look into it. I honestly just bought this yesterday. I haven't looked at it a ton, but the boat and the trailer are separate. So if you come over here inside, as you guys can see, there's a couple things in it, but it is naked for the most part. I'm going to try and figure out how I want to deck this out. I'm going to make it fishable. I want to be able to stand and fish. Here's the upside and the downside. The upside is I went ahead and I purchased it because, I mean, look at it. For a 1955, this thing is in good condition. I have no history on the boat at all whatsoever. I don't know if the guy repainted it. I don't know if, you know, this is the original color. It looks pretty freshly painted, so I'm gonna guess it's not the original color at all. The guy didn't tell me much. He bought it from a buddy. It was sitting in his backyard for a long time in his shed, and so this guy bought it off of him. That's about all that I know. The downside is I don't even know if it floats, guys. I bought it off this guy. I trusted his word for it. I know you're probably thinking like, oh, why didn't you test it? The reason I couldn't like float test it or water test it was because it was 19 degrees when I picked it up. The ponds are still frozen. You literally can't put it in the water, and you can't turn on a hose right now unless you want to just freeze your water line. My theory for why I think it's going to be okay is, well, one, look at the shape that it's in. Two is this right here. As you guys can see, it has a watercraft registration up to 2022, which that kind of just sat right with me. Why would it be registered if the guy wasn't fishing with it, right? If it was like leaking and sinking, I don't think he would take it out on the water. So that was pretty much my only argument of why I think it's gonna be a-okay, but I think we're gonna water test it today. So if you come around back here, there are a few things that the gentleman did to kind of like customize the trailer himself. He put PVC pipe on here just so he could see it for when he put it on the trailer and when he backed it up to the boat ramp. He made these fender flares. These are brand new. He said he just put these on last week. He says this is the original transom. I don't know if it is. I don't know if I believe that, but he says this is the original transom that was on there, but it is in good shape. That is super important. If I'm gonna put some kind of tiller engine on here, you need to have a hefty transom. And then if you come around here, the other side's basically the same thing. So there's nothing crazy to it. It's a boat. It hopefully floats, but I'm really excited. So this is one of the plus sides to when I purchased it. These tires are obviously small. The gentleman said that these are the storage tires. He did keep it inside, so it seemed like it was well taken care of. He used these tires to just store it, and then he gave me a set of new tires for when I want to trailer it around. So that is a plus. He also gave me the oars for it and some life jackets. So, you know, that's always good to get some freebies in there. If you guys come around over here, the gentleman who had it prior, or actually, I don't know if the gentleman who had it before him or if he did it, but he started to deck it out a little bit. As you guys can see right here, there's like the front of the deck that we'll go ahead and we'll put up here. So he put that in like that. This thing's definitely waterlogged. It needs to be replaced for sure. Oh God. So this guy sits in here like this. I don't know if it's gonna fit because there's tires and stuff in here. All right. So I'm not really gonna fine fit it in here, but if you guys come up here, there's actually a pin that locks that down, but the gentleman that I bought it off of said he used this to stand, and he had a seat that was mounted in there, but he took it off, and this is what he did. So the cool thing about this is almost perfectly form fitted, which means I can just trace this to start making a deck and do what I need to do. If you come in here, you'll see like he's got some rubber mat flooring in the side. He said he used this because when he would fish it, it was kind of slippery when it got wet, which made me nervous because why would it be getting wet inside? But I don't know. I'm just still taking his word for it. If it is leaking at the end of the day, It's not the first time I've had to deal with this in Jon boats. If you guys watched my last Jon boat build, it literally had a hole like this big in it. So what we're actually gonna do today is we're gonna turn on the hose and we are gonna test it to see if it's leaking. And from there, we're gonna see what we have to do. But we're gonna go grab the hose, and I know this might be cringy to some of you guys, but I am just gonna lower this thing down and I'm gonna just stick the hose in there and fill it up with some water and see if it leaks anywhere, because that's pretty much the only option that I have, because I can't put it in a pond anytime soon. But in the back here, it actually does have a plug, so which is weird. This is what's kind of cool, because I'm used to the plug being like right here in a boat. The plug is actually directly in the bottom right here, so that's interesting. Never really seen that, but we're just gonna leave that in there. It is still a little bit cold. It's around 30 something, like it's almost 40 degrees here today, so it is still a little bit cold, but it is warm enough to turn the hose on. So we're gonna go around the house and do this, and hopefully it's not just peeing water everywhere. All right, buddy, just start filling her up. So obviously I'm not gonna fill up the entire boat. Now this particular Jon boat, you know, I'm not gonna be able to tell 100% if it's leaking or not, due to the fact that it's a deep V and a lot of the rivets on the boat are this high up in the boat. So that would require me to literally fill the whole boat up with water, which is just not a good idea. So the reason that I put water in it was just because I wanted to submerge the back end of it, kind of where some of these rivets are, if you guys can see right here. These guys right here, I wanted to see if it leaked anywhere through there, and then I also wanted to see if it leaked out the back right here. So again, I don't know a ton about these boats, so just leave me information down below if you're cringing at me thinking like, oh, this guy's an idiot. I do research when I can. I didn't do much research on this thing prior to making this current video. This is more or less just showing you guys what I bought. I just assumed if I could look here, like when I redid the other boat, a lot of my leaky problems, like where water was coming through at, was in these areas. So the fact that I filled it up this much, again, I've submerged most of these rivets and stuff right here, and it's not dripping at all. If you guys look underneath it, I mean, it's dry as day. There's nothing leaking out anywhere. So I can't speak for water coming up to the main water line and things like that until I physically put it in the water, so we're gonna have to wait until then. But for the most part, I think we're good to go. I don't think it's gonna leak. You know, stuff back in the day was made really well. I love that this is made in the US, and I also love that like Sears made it. I know that might not mean anything. I don't know what that means yet. I gotta do the research, but I think that's kind of funny. Like, I didn't know that Sears made boats back in the day. So far so good. I'm gonna pull the plug on it. Andre, you wanna crank up the trailer tongue on that? Dang, that plug is in there. It seems like he hadn't taken this plug out in a long time. I also want to see if the plug's actually in pretty decent shape. But as you guys can see, we're draining now. I'm pretty pumped. I'll tell you this. I won't tell you how much I paid for it yet. I'm going to tell you guys a price breakdown of everything once the boat is done. So you're going to have to wait to see. But I didn't pay a lot for this boat. It was almost so cheap that I just had to go get it. If you guys, again, want to keep up with this boat build, next video I'm going to start actually tearing it apart, getting it ready for the whole build itself. So if you guys want to stay in tune, hit that subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you guys get alerted every time I make a video. This is going to be really exciting. The goal is to try and get this done in almost a week or two. It's going to be quick. Leave me a comment down below if you guys know any information about these boats. I promise you I'm going to be doing a bunch of research in the meantime, but we are going to start the build in the next couple of days here, so stay tuned. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.